Hi everyone. Hi Philipp.
Hi video, hi everybody.
It is great to see you today, and I'm happy that we can have this interview. In 2023, Fast Company listed Grab as one of the most innovative companies in Asia Pacific region. You as a product officer at Grab, chief product officer at Grab, how do you see this competitive advantage and how do you achieve it?
I think first of all, it's a great honor to have that opportunity to be recognized like that for all of our team. I think for us, what's the most important thing is really being on the ground and being very close to our users, right? Like, so what we as a company really believe on is what we say, like immersing ourselves in ground truth. So in the 8 countries that we operate in Southeast Asia, we really go on the ground. We have like teams in all of those countries that talk to the users and solve their day-to-day needs, right? Like in the markets that we operate, be it like mobility, food, package delivery, financial services. In all of those, really, like what our innovation is always very user-centric. So we try to like talk to the users, understand what are unsolved pain points for them in their everyday lives, and try to solve that. I think that's kind of how we achieve that innovation. Like I can tell you from myself, right? Like I mean, I have gone this year many times on the ground and like delivered food, talked to our passengers, talked to our drivers. And the mindset of Kaizen, right? Like it's really constantly iterating and learning is, I think, what's at the power of our way, how we develop products. And that's, I think, kind of like how like every day we get a little bit better.
And being there on the ground is really helping you to get better decision on the next products, right?
Oh, massively, right? Like, so I think when I go and talk to our drivers, it's so different in each of the markets, right? Like, so we've gone to the Philippines, for example, and we've learned that they have like these like subdivision. These are like kind of these gated communities. And many of our drivers had like challenges like driving into those communities. And then we figured out like if we like provide them like a better navigation to understand like here you can enter, here you can leave and things like that, then they suddenly can make the delivery much quicker, right? Like so many of these like things where it's very hard to tell remote, right? Like if you're sitting in your office in Singapore, it's much harder to understand like what is really the problem for a driver that drives 10, 12 hours a day, delivering food, transporting passengers. So I've learned so much from all these immersions. It's absolutely incredible. And like all of our product team does this, right? Like, so we had like, I just had 2 weeks ago an immersion where we were like 20, 30 people from our tech team going to Thailand on the ground and doing that. So it's been it's really, I can highly recommend this to anybody who's building products to really go on the ground and learn from your users.
That's a really interesting suggestion, I think, and yeah, people should do it. What about sustainability? How Grab works in that area?
Yeah, so I mean, sustainability is like as a very mission-driven company has been always very important to us. So we have a bunch of areas that we're really focusing on. One was like reducing packaging waste. Like so, I think something that we did that helped is like now by default we don't include cutlery in orders. And like we allow people if they really need it, right? Like if they're really somewhere where they don't, they can like add it. But by default, we don't. So this has reduced packaging waste. We have several thousand electric motorcycles in Indonesia, which we rent to our drivers. So that has been like in the topic of like decarbonization and electrification. So we have a bunch of like really interesting initiatives that we're very passionate about to pursue more.
Sounds great. One of the, let's say, hot topics today is AI. How do you see its evolution in the future? And how basically, what do you think will happen next?
Oh wow, that's like, I mean, honestly, AI has evolved so quickly. Like generative AI in the last 12, 18 months has been like operating at a speed, right? Like, I mean, I've seen many times that kind of like technology evolving like with Moore's law, where like every 18 to 24 months it doubles. AI feels so much faster than that. Like I just like shared this like internally with our team, right? Like 12, 13 months ago, just ChatGPT with GPT 3.5 launched. And now, like again, just like 12 months later, the tech that we have, I mean, GPT-4, GPT Vision, and then like the open source models like Mixtral and so on, right? Like, so I think as a builder and as a like somebody that really loves technology, I think it has really like opened the door to build new experiences. So I think right now we're even like catching up with what's already out there, right? Like because the stuff gets like, I mean, like every day like something new gets released. So I think like the next 6 to 12 months will continue to evolve quite rapidly, right? Like so I think there's still many new advances. So I think we're still like kind of like implementing some of the things, and we've seen some really good gains. So one thing that I can share, for example, that we've launched to our users is language translations, right? Like Southeast Asia is inherently like a very diverse region with many different languages. We serve a lot of travelers for Grab, right? Like people that either travel within Southeast Asia or even people from outside of Southeast Asia that travel in. And not everybody speaks all the languages, right? Like let's say when you come and visit us tomorrow in Thailand and your driver picks you up and you want to send them a message, I suppose you probably don't know Thai, I would suppose, yeah. Probably not very well at least, right? Like, and then, like, but then our driver might not speak English or so, okay. Right? Like, so, but now basically he can send you a message in Thai and it gets automatically translated for you in English and vice versa, right? Like,
and so
it's
a text or it's audio?
In this case, it's text, but like, I mean, so basically, like, I mean, there's lots of possibilities, but basically, what I'm saying, right, like, so a few years ago, this was like still like really hard to build. Now with like the latest technology, building things like that and building like these experiences, right, like we've done similar things with translating our menu items, right, like so, and many of those things. So I see we're seeing already like many of these things like really hitting production that like were really hard like 1-2 years ago. So I'm really excited to bring more and more of those things to our users.
People in Cluj at least and in this region knows you as one of the co-founders of Scopler, which was a great business. And coming to this idea, let's think if tomorrow we will think to do a startup. In which domain do you think you might choose to do it?
I think it's a great question. And I mean, like the startup ecosystem has been always very close to my heart, and I always think of Grab as like a very big startup almost. So I think that's why I feel very much at home there. But I think right now the environment for startups is not super easy with like the fundraising environment and so on. So probably if I would start something right now, it would be like in B2B, software as a service, obviously with AI, right? Like, I mean, I'm like in the weekends, I'm like coding to like catch up and learn what's possible. So I'm like using like all the AI assistants like GitHub Copilot to like just for fun on the weekends like code to see what's happening. Nice. So if it would be something, it would be definitely along those lines, like leveraging generative AI. And what I think is, I think it'll transform many industries. So I would probably pick like one B2B sector that it's like transforming, and that's probably something I would do if I would be a founder again.
Great, and you have been always connected with automotive industry. Do you think Grab by its map updated more or less real time, do you think will help achieving quicker level 4 or level 5 on autonomous driving?
So, I mean, Grab Maps is something that I'm obviously very passionate about, right? Like we've invested a lot in that into the last few years. So it's been a really cool project. But like for those of you who are not familiar, right, like we basically, across the 8 countries in Southeast Asia, we have invested a lot in like really creating really excellent maps that are used by all of our 35 million monthly transacting users on a regular basis. What we've learned is it's really important to focus on some areas and do them really well, right? Like, so what we have focused really is like creating like amazing maps for our mobility use cases, creating amazing maps for our food delivery use cases, and then like opening them up and making it available for other developers. So at this point, that's what we're really focused on. And what we're really like seeing like so many more opportunities to improve that. I think And the next stages is really like to add like even more details to them, right? Like, so we're already like doing that. So I do think there's definitely the potential to use this in other sectors, and we're making them available to others as well. So I do think to your question, yes, I mean they're available already for other people using it in an automotive context, for example.
Philip, you have been living on both sides in Europe most of your life, and now since I think 4 years in Singapore. How do you see the differences between Western and Asian culture, and what do you think is the main advantage on each side from a competitive perspective?
Yeah, so as you said, right, like I lived obviously first part of my life in Europe, then lived like 5 years in Silicon Valley, and now like a bit more than 4 years in Asia. And I really loved the experience, right? Like for me, like every part of my life was a quite unique experience. What I see right now, so I'm personally very passionate about Asia because of just like the speed of things developing, right? Like the openness to trying new things, and yeah, and just generally, right? Like like how fast new things get adopted. So that's, I think, what like really like makes me enjoy my time there a lot. What I would like say in terms of cultural differences, like one thing I would say, for example, like Asia is so large. What I've learned also, it's like kind of asking somebody what is like European culture, while somebody in like, let's say in Romania versus somebody in Switzerland, right? Like might be a very different culture. So I think it's a bit hard to say like what is like the specifics, because there's so many. Like, I mean, Asia is like a couple of billion people if you like take all of it. So it's like I've started to like learn and appreciate the differences there, and same like in Europe. What I would say, right, like what I personally would hope for Europe is being a bit more open to change, adopting new technologies and so on. Right, like so I'm still very passionate about like the European tech ecosystem and so on. So what I really hope is for more like openness to innovation and like adopting new things, and like sometimes moving a little bit faster. So that's kind of like some things that I think is yeah, hopefully coming more and more here.
Yeah, hopefully this will happen sooner or later. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Ovidio, for having me. Exciting to be in Cluj as always.
Yeah, and see you next time. Thanks.